For this first badge tip, I just want to show you how while loops work so you can get a general idea of what's going on in here. I'm going to just do a bunch of work from idle. So, there we go. In general, the way that a loop works is that you say, just like you might say an if statement, if x equals 10, then we do something. While loops look almost exactly like an if statement. The only thing is we change it to a while x equals 10 do something. What this means is don't just do it once, but do it over and over and over again if x equals 10. And of course, since I'm using a if kind of equals, I have to put 2 there, so that was dumb. Now, if I was to just run this, what changes... No, I guess this happens in if statements too. It's just not going to understand as soon as I save this. It's not going to understand x because you can't say, hey, does x equal 10 and then never say what x is, right? So if I started by saying x equals 1 and then I make a loop, then nothing happens. Why? Because x equaled 1, which means this is false, which means it's not going to print. But if I say, okay, x is going to equal 10, and it's going to say keep doing this over and over again if x equals 10, then we're going to get what's called an infinite loop, because x equals 10 forever as far as the program's concerned. And then you have to either quit this out or go to this and restart it. So then it will finally end, and then you can kind of take a look if you wanted to over here at how far it scrolled down the screen saying hooray. Right, so that's an infinite loop. And so while we're at it, some people really enjoy infinite loops. So what you can do is you can actually say something like this, while true. So true is always true. You could also do something like while 1 equals 1. So you could create an infinite loop on purpose. And watch this. I'm going to say, print I. And then over here I'm going to say I equals I plus 1. And so this loop now is going to go forever, because I told it to go forever, and it's going to keep on adding 1 to I, which means we get this cool little counter. But I can't equal something plus 1 if it doesn't exist, so I better start at 0, right? You're going to find that happens in loops all the time. You have to tell it what's going to exist before you can do the loop. And I'll be saying that in almost every tip I do. Alright, so here we have a counter. It goes up by 1. By the way, some people might know this already based on other work that they've done, but you can do the same thing that I just did, I equals I plus 1, which takes the old I, adds 1 to it, saves it in the new I. This happens so often in computer coding that I plus equals 1 is the shortcut for that. And of course, it doesn't have to be a 1 either. You can say I want to increase by 5 every time. You can even say minus equals if you want to go down every time, or star equals if you want to do like almost this would be like some sort of exponents, right? 6 times 6 times 6 or whatever. So you can do all sorts of math. I've never really tried the division over and over and over again, but I think that's what a logarithm is, isn't it? So that would kind of work. But anyway, I say go up by 5, and so now we have counting by 5s. And you could let this go for as long as you have the patience to let it go, or your computer runs out of battery, either one. So that's an infinite loop. Now, if you've ever been in a program that freezes up, sometimes what's happening is an infinite loop, right? Imagine I didn't print and I run this program, and so it's not doing anything to the screen, but it is counting inside its head. So as long as I sit here, it's counting, and it seems like it's stuck. I mean, I can like try to do stuff, but it's not responding to anything I do, right? That would be cool if you could do that. So that's a problem. So I could restart it. Now is I going to be 0? Well, that's too bad. I was hoping that it would tell me what it was counting to while it was frozen, but you can't really do that. So you got to be careful of infinite loops. Anytime you do loops, there's a chance you're going to make a mistake and it's just going to keep on going down the screen, which is always kind of funny. But it's not what we're really trying to do, is it? What we're really trying to do is set up a situation where it would eventually quit. And so that's where we might say, if I is less than 100, then we want to print I, and I goes up by 5. So now, while this is true, it'll keep doing these lines. And so now it would say, okay, go from count by 5s and go up to 100. So that's what a good while loop is going to do instead of an infinite loop. Now it's based on this condition that we have. And so that's really what you're trying to do with these loops, is set up, I want to do something over and over again. And sometimes the thing you want to do over and over again can be kind of tricky math. And then when you're done, when you get to the point where you're ready to stop, then it will stop and say, okay, here's your results. So that's what we're doing in this one. I'll get more specific into how to do some inputs with it in the next tip.